you're going to be keeping chicks and hens at the same time, it's highly recommended that you keep those birds in separate housing units. First off, the diets and the nutrient requirements of those birds are very different. So it's going to be very difficult to make sure that those birds are eating the right feed when they're housed in the same unit. Another issue that you might run into is disease transmission. Those older hens have spent a lot of time building up immunity to diseases that those young birds just haven't had yet. And there's a high possibility that those older hens will transmit disease to the younger birds. You may also have some aggression issues as well, whereas the larger birds will pick on the smaller birds. So I would highly recommend that you keep your chicks and your hens in separate housing units. When you get your chicks home and into their brooder, provide them with Purina Start and Grow. This feed has been formulated to provide those chicks with the nutrients they need to get all the way up to those egg-laying mamas everybody wants. The question then becomes, do you feed the non-medicated or the medicated version of that diet? And that's going to depend on whether the chicks had been vaccinated for coccidiosis at the hatchery. If they have been vaccinated, then go ahead and feed them the non-medicated Start and Grow. But if they haven't been vaccinated, or if you're unsure if they've been vaccinated or not, go ahead and feed them the medicated Start and Grow feed until they start laying eggs. At that point, you can switch them over to Purina Lane. And just to be clear, the medication that is in Start and Grow is Amprolium, which is a coccidiostat, and it's going to help to prevent the internal parasite of coccidia from causing issues with those birds. If you want to provide treats to your chickens, I'd suggest waiting until those chickens are about 18 weeks of age. The first few weeks of life are very important for the long-term growth and development of those animals. If you are going to provide treats to your birds, make sure that you limit it to 10% of their diet so that 90% of their diet is coming from their regular feed. This way they get the proper vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients they need to grow. If you're looking for some treat ideas, mealworms are a very popular idea. Scratch grains are always a great idea. Some of the more interesting ones that people have talked about are feeding pumpkins and watermelons. Feed them whole and the birds will just kind of annihilate them as they wish. So give it a try and see what happens. For most chicken owners, grit isn't really a necessity anymore. If you house your birds in a coop and you provide them with a commercially prepared feed that's been ground up and then formed into a pellet or crumble, grit isn't going to be necessary. Those feeds are highly digestible and easily broken down by the gizzard into smaller feed particles. You may need to use grit if you allow your birds to forage or free range so that they can digest some of the larger feedstuffs that they get. If you do choose to use grit as part of your chicken's feed regimen, then make sure that you're using a chick-sized particle for young birds and then an adult-sized grit for older birds. If you're going to be feeding guinea chicks, I'd suggest starting them on Game Bird Starter. They're going to need a higher level of protein similar to turkeys for the first 6 weeks of their life. After that, you've got a few options. You can feed them Game Bird Flight Conditioner, Flock Razor, or even Purina Start and Grow non-medicated feed.